finished for my AMA. And every time I run into him, he keeps on asking me, where is it? So I hope this will pass as my presentation for my project. And thanks a lot, the Dean, and for you for inviting me here. I spent a little bit of time doing land economics, and at some point we also faced with the same dilemma. But I think it's a positive one, given that at this point in time you're already thinking about the next step. If you had graduated and started thinking of what you're going to do, then I'd consider it a real dilemma. But given that you're thinking about it now, before you take that step, means it's positive. I know there's a lot of talk about job, employment. You need to be your own employer, what my friend Yahweh has talked about. But for me, I think you don't need to be pulled in any one way. We're all different. There are those who would end up in employment. There are those of you who would become employers. And that's the reality of it. Okay? Those of you who become employers would be those of you who would want to take risk. And you can see them in class. Yeah? They're the guys who skive. Are there guys who skive class here? Huh? The guys who skive, they rarely do their homework. In fact, the question about whether people get paid to do assignments, I think that's a question that have been asked in the absence of Dr. Gishunge, because then hands would have come up. Yeah? I'm not saying that's the right way to do it, but those of you who take risk, and you start taking risk now, there are those of you probably in your rooms, you sell things. Yeah? You have a cashew business. Yeah, at night you disappear, you put on your watchman uniform, yeah, or you serve tea at Java, or all those. Most likely those ones will never get employed, okay? And then there are the risk, those who manage risk, those are the employees. Me, when I graduated, I'd made very clear goals. I'd said by the time I'm 33, I'll be running my own farm and I'll be a director. That was a goal I set for myself. And for every job that I got, I went there to learn. When I got my first job, I actually told Mr. Njuguna that I would not mind even if I don't get paid. Because I wanted to do what? To learn. Okay? But of course, human beings would not be the same if they did not have something called shame. Okay? Although I was ready to work for free, at the end of the month, Mr. Njuguna paid me. Okay? He paid me. After 1.5 years of working, I got an opportunity at Lloyd Masika. And I went and told Mr. Njuguna that I want to leave because I've got another opportunity. And he asked me, is it about more money? And I told him, no, actually, Lloyd Masika are paying me less. But I wanted to learn how Lloyd Masika, how they do their thing. And I joined Lloyd Masika. I was there for 4 years. After 4 years, I got a call from Tyson's. And I went to Mr. Arohio's office and I told him, Mr. Arohio, it's time for me to leave. Why? I think I have learned whatever I need to learn. I need to go somewhere else. Where are you going, Tyson's? Why? I need to see how they do their things. And I joined Tyson's for about 1.5 years before CBRE called. And again, I went and told Mr. Ragalo, that it's time for me to leave. Same question, why? I think I need to see how CB Richard Ellis does their thing. CB Richard Ellis is a local franchise of one of the largest real estate firms in the world. And after 1 year in CBRE, I thought I had learned what I needed to learn, and I left. Me and my partners became employers. Today, we run ArkConsultants, 3 of us, with a staff of about 30, and about 4, 5, 6 land econ graduates. We are very clear that there's about, as a private company, you can only have up to 7 directors. And we've told all our staff that anyone who becomes a full member of ISK, gets registered, he has an opportunity to become a director. We saw this because we learned from the others. The examples that Yahya has given where farms take too long to either bring in new partners or frustrate them at some point. Because it was very clear where you worked, you could actually see the glass ceiling. If you join today, and the person who's listed as an associate in the farm has been there for 14 years, you can imagine how you're wondering, now 14 years, how long is that? It's very long. And as a young person, I'm sure you get very restless. So for me, being here today is to encourage you. It is, the opportunities are there and they are huge. Opportunities are there. But if you leave this great university thinking of the worst, then most likely life will be very difficult for you. There are many who came before us who probably never saw the benefits of working out there. They never saw the opportunities. But there's a class. In fact, I'm told the first year class now is 81 of Landicon. Huh? 81? As I think you're only 25. And yet when you graduated, we tarmacked. That's why I'll be able to go and tell Mr. Njuguna, I'd work for free. Now we come for you, even students. Yeah? And I think Mwalimu here would know that we keep on booking some of those land econ graduates. I don't know about the other courses, but I know for land economics. And for me, if I get 3 right now, I'd pick. You start working tomorrow. Because jobs are there. 3. Yeah? If I get 3 right now, I'd pick. There's one of you here called Anne. Where's Anne? She disappeared. Okay? She disappeared. Okay? Opportunities are there, but it's all a function of the market. There are times when there are good times and there are bad times. Okay? But these are the very, very good times for you. And I know some of you graduate and they're really asking for a lot of money. Yeah? You've become very good negotiators. You are really asking for good money. But opportunities are there. But a time will come when they'll not be there. Yet, Mwalimu will not stop training. He always talked about thinking of you, think of yourself as a person who benched Beckham. Okay? That time will come. Hopefully, I think Beckham should have thought of becoming a coach. Yeah? Then he'll not become an employee. But the dangers are real. They're there. But for you need to ask yourself what you want to become. Set your goals right now. I have classmates who, right from day one when they joined this, they thought that they actually got a road deal. They should have gone to do medicine, big commerce, and all those. Me, from the day I got in here, because I had understood what a land economist is, probably had that benefit. My goals were actually set. I came to this university because I knew this is what I wanted to come and do. And I've never removed my eyes from the ball. At the age of 33, I achieved my dream of being a director of a farm. Because I set my goals. Right now, we are looking at how real estate is going to change. It is not going to change without you changing it. If you want something to be the way you want, then you work towards changing it. Sindio? Otherwise, you'll find yourself always a player. Okay? Then there are others who pull the strings, shape your destiny, and shape the market to be what you want. Years to come, there'll be no real valuation firms. There'll be no real architectural firms. There'll be no real engineering firms. If I may ask you a question, what is PwC? Yeah, well, that's what it stands for, but what do they do? Huh? You know Mkono. Who knows? Auditing? Accounting? You only know them that's what they do? Huh? I can assure you PwC, if you told them that you want to import cars, they'll do it for you. If the scale is right and the money is right. They teach. They train. Yeah? They run human resources services. They recruit. They do consultancies for anything. Anything. Yeah? If you want to put up an engineering project, they'll bid and then they'll hire X. PwC is no longer an accounting firm. Accounting and auditing is just one of those things that they used to do. You can ask Bob, used to work for Pitmawi, now KPMG. Same thing, okay? And soon, we're actually even seeing them doing valuation work. Who did the valuation for Kenya Railways? Do you know? Do you know? PwC were the transaction advisors. Okay? So as you move up and you're about to enter into the market, you may actually find a totally different landscape. Our consultants may no longer be that valuation firm we talk about. It may have valuers, accountants, engineers, okay? The models keep on changing. And the higher you go, the more you realize that you cease to be a professional and you become a business owner. I have a very good friend of mine. He actually went through this very same building. It's called Ken Wadhome. You know him? You know Ken Wadhome? Ken Wadhome is the CEO of NW Realite and also the chairman of Faulu. Ken Wadhome one time, after we just started our farm, I sat down with him and I asked him, I have this problem. As a professional, I am not supposed to advertise myself, okay? Yet, I have costs and I need to get work. And Ken told me, Reggie, to get the job is business, to do it is being a professional. When you get a job, you use all business tactics to get it. Dr. Gishunge will agree, probably by the time they were graduating, they used to get instructions through the mail. Yeah? The most valuable asset you'd have back then was a messenger and a post office box. Am I wrong, Mwalimu? Yeah? That was their most valued asset. A post box and a messenger. The messenger used to go in the morning, open the post box, retrieve letters, which would be instructions. Dr. Gishunge here would sit down, do the work, put it in an envelope, and post it. 1 week later, the messenger would go to the post box, retrieve a letter, which will bring it to him, and Dr. Gishunge will open up a check. But now times have changed. I cannot remember the last time I got an instruction through a post box. I cannot remember. Okay? And nowadays you chase instructions to the extent that even before it is signed, you've been called. You're actually there waiting for it. Inasainiwa hivi naona unachukua. That's how competitive it has become. We as valuers are nowadays employing marketers. We never used to do that. We are marketers. We actually employ people to go and look for work. Okay? And sometimes they all meet outside bank managers' offices. That's the business environment. That's ours. During your time to be different. During Dr. Gishunge's time, getting that post box was a real issue. Yeah, there were very few. Nowadays there are very many. In fact, if you go to GPO, you'd get one. But they no longer come through that. Times have changed. So the dilemma for me that I see it, actually when I looked at the topic, I actually asked myself, for me it's a curse. I think you're blessed with so many opportunities. You've called us here to help you make a decision, but the decision is actually yours. You'll decide what you want to be. If you want a job, you can create it. If you want to be an employer, then you have to accept to take risk. But in all those, taking a professional course means you have to qualify. And therefore, employment you cannot escape. Unfortunately, I didn't design it, I found it, and I'll tell you that you have to work for some of us before you can get those certificates. Because you must make sure that by the time you get out there, when you're providing Bobby, the developer, with services, then there are services that can actually be measured and can be relied on. So you do your 4 years or 5 years, then you do another 3 or 2. Land economists will have to do 3. with ISK and get your registration. Then from there you can think about going out. I don't know whether they teach you how to run businesses. One of the disadvantages we had is that we were trained to work, but now we are running farms. We do not know anything about managing human resources or how to read accounts. We did a bit of accounts, but it's not enough. So as I look at you, young and innocent as you are, I see great hopes and of course doom, but it's for you to choose whether you want to pick the passage of opportunity or the passage of helplessness. It's not about just being employed. You can actually do other things. I sit on the board of National Housing Corporation. Probably it has something to do with land economics or not, but it's probably something that you'll never be taught to be. It's about doing policy and strategy. It's the apex of any organization. Some of you will actually raise to become that. But what I would say is, if you choose to be employed, do not worry even if you worked for 20 years, as long as that is what you set out to do. If you're going to be employed, be the best employer, be honest, and have integrity. If you're going to be an employer, care about your employees, about their welfare and their career progression. You be the risk taker, and the employers manage the risk for you. If you're employed, manage that risk. Not all of us can be employers, and not all of us will be employees, but that's how society is. Just like there are those who profess the Muslim faith and those who are Christians, and those who don't care whether there's God or not. But that's life. But whatever it is that you do, make sure you do it to the best of your abilities. And before I conclude, I remember that when I graduated, one of the few things that my wars with Mr. Njuguna as my first employer, he told me that it is good that you've gone through 4 years, you've graduated, that's very good, but now I'm going to teach you afresh. Okay? I'll teach you how things work out in the work environment. But I refuse to be retaught. I refuse to be retaught. Because what I learned actually works. I know that most of you will be told that whatever you learn here may not actually work out there. It actually works. If you want it to work, it will work. The market works the same way Dr. Gishunge teaches it's supposed to work. But if you decide you don't want it to work like that, then it will never work that way. For me, I refused to be retaught. And I insisted that what I've learned is what I need to practice. I also hope that the knowledge you carry here, when you come to offices, you'll refuse to be taught other things. You'll refuse to be taught how to cut corners. You'll refuse to be taught to be inferior. You'll refuse to be taught that you cannot go beyond the level of your employer. Those are very good lessons that you need to have. It's about self-determination and how well you can influence. And wherever you go, make sure you leave it better than you found it. Always learn something and make an improvement. For the 4 years you've been here, you've learned a lot. Bobby talked about that you are young, energetic, and you have knowledge. What you lack is experience. But nowadays I see your lecturers really insisting that you have to do internship. And it's good that many of you do volunteer to do those internships. They are very important. It's part of your experience. My first job, when the phone rang, I couldn't pick it. I had never worked for the 4 years I was here. I never went into an office. I never had any work experience. When the phone rang, I could not pick it because I didn't know what to say. Do you know what to say? Huh? Yeah. I didn't know what to say. But if you worked, someone like Anne, she would know what to say. Cynthia? Yeah, you know what to say. Yeah. So it's important that you do those internships. They expose you to the office environment and you're able to deal with clients. Right now, I do encourage my children, I go with them to the office, and sometimes they'll even answer the phone. At the age of 4 and 9, if you call my office and they're there, they'll pick it and tell you, ArkConsultants, how may I help you? Okay? Something me with a degree I could not do. So the office environment is very important. What Bobby has told you, during your holidays, go to those construction sites. If you are doing construction management, you're an architect. Those of you who are doing land economics, building economics, try and work in those QSing firms or those valuation firms and get a feel of how it works. One of the issues that we grapple with as valuers is our work is field-based. Yet all valuers wear ties and very good suits. Have you noticed? Yeah? Valuers dress very well. But their work is field-based. Okay? One time I went to value a farm in Molo, and I had a suit, about 1,500 acres. By the time I was done, I had blackjack, red soil. You know, and no one ever told me that I actually need to dress differently when I'm going to the field. But if you're able to learn these things early, you get those internships. Now I know if I'm going to do field work, I actually show up in jeans, or I have gumboots in my car, or something like that. They prepare you well, and you know what you expect. Don't go into this market without knowing what you're getting into. What Bobby told you was very real. Interact with it even before you're formally into it. I'll leave you with this saying, and I like using it. If you only do what you can, then you'll never do very much. Try to do more than you can. Thank you.